For a little under 15 years now, I've been doing woodworking, and the one question I always get in the comment section and from people that I know who are interested in woodworking is, what exactly are the tools that I need to start woodworking today? So in this video, I'm gonna give you a list of the most essential woodworking tools for beginners so that you don't waste your money on anything that you won't need straight out the gate, and you only buy now what will make you money to buy the other stuff later. Item number one on this list is probably gonna be the most obvious. On the count of three, let's all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Tape measures. Duh. I've showed you these guys before. I use the fast cap tape measure set. This guy is the metric and standard. This guy is the old standby. It has a little pad here so I can mark my dimensions. And this is my flat back tape measure. It's for laying down on flat surfaces and getting the most accurate reading possible. I've used fast cap tape measures for as long as I can remember. They're very cheap. You can get them for about $6.99 on Amazon or on the fast cap website. Really like that they have a little pencil sharpener on board there. And you can take your drill and just sharpen up the pencil. You don't have to use your drill, but it makes it a whole lot funner. This is the one item that for every single woodworking project you do, it'll be involved. Item number 2. When you've got all of your measuring done and now it's time to start cutting, you need to make sure that when you do cut, your lines are straight. So you're gonna need a speed square or just a standard square. There are many on the planet. This one, I got at a garage sale. I think it was literally $4. And this one is a little bit more high end. It's a machinist square. So it's great for calibrating my blades and all of my tools, but this guy will also work and help you to create nice, clean, straight lines so that you can make nice, clean, straight cuts, which is imperative if you're gonna have any sort of career in woodworking. You can also use your square to get nice, straight cuts with your circular saw. You don't have to follow a line. You can use the square. Do not say a word about the footwear. Everybody knows that famous woodworking saying, you can never have too many clamps. Not only can you never have too many clamps, you can never have too many of a specific kind. You've got your standard F-style clamps. These small ones are perfect for quick little pinches on boards and projects to level stuff out. These are quick release clamps. Once you grab down real tight on something, if you want to let it go, there's a button right here and it'll just slide right off. I've got clamps for gluing up frames and boxes like this guy. These aluminum style clamps are some of my favorites because they're perfect for cutting boards and stuff like that. These long jaw clamps are perfect for applying pressure further to the center of a project. If there's something you need to clamp down that's a little harder to reach, that's what these guys are for. These cabinet masters are also a great clamp. They're perfect for applying a ton of pressure to any big projects that you're working on. You can do anything with these from cutting boards to large tabletops. There are so many different styles of clamps that can help you with tons of projects, and I would suggest starting to buy them now rather than later because you're gonna need them with almost every glue up that you do. All right, it's time to move on to something that requires a little bit more money and a little bit more power. This is my impact and drill set. In 2017, my wife bought me this Makita drill and impact set for around 200 bucks. But if you don't have that money to spare, before this, I was using a Ryobi drill. If you're new to this channel, you might not know it, but we don't power tool shame around here. It is okay to buy cheap until you can upgrade to something a little bit more quality. So if you do happen to be using something from Harbor Freight or a Ryobi drill, that's not that big of a deal. That rhymed. A good drill set is gonna come in handy for you when you start doing bigger projects. You don't need something like this if you're only gonna be doing cutting boards, but if you wanna make a coffee table, a kitchen table, a bookcase, or some kitchen cabinets, you're definitely gonna need a reliable set. And like I said, I've had these for about 8 years now, so spending that $200 8 years ago has really paid off. And just a word of advice, take this battery and stay on the same ecosystem. So if you buy Makita or Milwaukee, stick with that brand, take this battery and buy the next power tool on the list, and that is a jigsaw. If you need to make Wile E. Coyote type cuts on your projects, the jigsaw is going to be where it's at. You can't take a handsaw or a circular saw and do all kinds of crazy designs in wood, but you can with a jigsaw. Jigsaws are one of the most versatile tools that you can have in your arsenal because they can really just do so much. Jigsaws are the perfect saw for cutting curves and shapes, making inside cuts like cutting out a hole for a kitchen sink, And if you have a steady hand, they can make a pretty reliable straight cut. What's great about having a jigsaw is that they have a wide variety of blade types. You can cut metal, plastic, laminate, foam, insulation, and obviously wood. Jigsaws are an all-around great tool to have in the arsenal. Tool number 7, I think we're on, is a circular saw. If you're gonna be doing a lot of material management and chopping up a lot of wood, you have to have a circular saw. This one tool right here is an entire woodworking business in this small little package. All of the cuts that you could possibly need to make, cross cuts, rip cuts, long board cuts, plywood, dimensional lumber, walnut, whatever it is that you need to do, this guy can make it happen. And if you're good with the circular saw, you can make it happen beautifully. And just like our jigsaw, the blade can be removed. You can put metal cutting blades and masonry blades on this bad boy, so you can cut rebar and pipe and brick if you need to. If you pinch pennies and save up the time to get a circular saw, you won't regret it. All right, one of the last items on this list, and probably one of the most important, is a random orbit sander. I'm starting on my 5th year as a cabinet maker, and I can tell you, sanding is one of the most important steps in the process of making a great set of cabinets. And having a great sander is what makes all of that happen. I used this Porter cable for a long time, and it worked out well, and I'll still even use it to this day because it's a beast. But if I had to work 8 hours a day sanding cabinets all day long, I'm choosing the upgraded version for sure. If you happen to have a budget for all these tools that I've listed, and you're trying to figure out where you should save money and buy cheap and spend money and buy expensive, I think the sander is the one that you spend the most money on. Anyone who's used these sanders and also used a DeWalt, Makita, or Skill sander will know there's a difference, for sure. Moral of the story, you need a random orbit sander, and if you can, spend a little money to get a good one. The last tool on this list I'm gonna tell you about is the router. Sorry. The last tool on the list that I think would wrap up a great beginner woodworking shop, that would make it so that you could have a woodworking business today, is a router. This is my Makita trim router, and this guy is amazing. Routers in general are amazing. I've got a Bosch router in my router table that's attached to my table saw, and at the end of the year last year, I used it to make several $1,000s. Router work in and of itself is an entire woodworking business, but if you know what you're doing with this bad boy and you can get nice clean finishes on your edges, the turnaround on cash can be pretty good. Routers are really good for adding decorative edge profiles like roundovers or chamfers on your projects. They're also really good at just straight up cutting joinery for you. They can make dados and grooves, rabbets, mortise and tenon joints, and dovetails and box joints. Routers are my preferred tool to hog away material and make recesses in wood. When it comes to routers, you want to have a really versatile bit set. That way you can do flush cuts and inlays and chamfers and stuff like that. Having a router is like the cherry on top of the sundae that is your woodworking project. If you use your router to clean up edges or make your joinery nice and polished, your project will be exponentially better. There are several different kinds of routers you can get. I would say buy a trim router first, just to get the vibe of it, and then get something with a little bit more horsepower and see if you can handle that. All right guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like it. If you subscribe, I'll show you more of this puppy. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. If you watched this video and thought to yourself, man, that was so good, how can I give this guy money to repay him? Then you're in luck. I have a lot of stuff listed on my Etsy store that you can buy to support the channel. So head on over to reformationwoodshop.etsy.com to grab something.